Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys my final recap and final thoughts and impressions on Recreators on episode 22. This episode gave out the finale, I guess, and etc. But I guess there was like a couple questions that's left unanswered exactly. So if anything else, let's go. We have to it that after what happened in the end of the festival, everyone is starting to go back to somewhat of their daily lives that does happen during the story, and we have to it that our creations, etc., are going back to their own world, obviously, but not before Meteora asked them what do you guys want to do before you go back? So all of them hanged out with the creators and have a little small talk, and eventually, after when the next day came about, they all get ready to go back to their world, with Meteora creating the portal for them. And eventually, each and every one of them do go back and, of course, have a couple exchange of words with their creators and etc. We also have to it that despite certain comedic scenes happening in this episode, they have their goodbyes, but Meteora can't send herself back for some reason. Somehow, involving about casting the spell right now. I guess she can't send herself back or go or throw herself out there. So even though she is unable to return, which she didn't return to her world anyway, she decides to stay in the world and make a story, one that could fit with everybody in a certain sense. And as for the other creators, whoever, after they had a small talk with the creations, they all, wonder how to make the story better. And, of course, the creators decides to, have small talks here and there. As for Meteora, she is living alone and trying to make a novel, and she's trying to figure out what to title it. And I think the final title ends up being Recreators in the end. And the episode finale ends up with the picture of Celestia, Kanuya, Meteora, Charon, almost a lot of characters around here, with the exception of Altair. Apparently she did die in last week's episode, etc., after reuniting with Setsuna and going to a different world, or just plain dead. Although, I've always wondered one question, what happened to Magane-chan, because she was the one that did not go back to her world, and I'm trying to wonder what happened to her exactly. That was the one thing that they left out, along with many other, along with maybe some other issues that's been going on. So, yeah, it ends off there, etc., and I'm here to give you guys my final impressions. All out honesty, I mean, when I looked at the plot and now that I watched it all the way to the end, I'm pretty sure all you guys might have understand a couple things here and there. Of course, there was a scene with Sota and Meteora, and Sota did say, he cheated a bit with Magane-chan's power, But, I don't know. Who knows? But, yeah, forgot to mention that during my recap. Forgive me. Aside from that, like I said, what happened to Magane-chan exactly? Did she go back to her world? Did she die? Did she disperse? Because she could still run rampant and rampage around the freaking, around the city, etc. Although, there were a lot of things, I think, that needed to be addressed, etc. Although I don't really know if they were actually related. Although, like I said, one of them is Magane-chan, etc. Did she go back to her world, or did she die? I don't know. But one thing was sure, she's still running around. And I think there are many issues, though, I can't really, comprehend. But anyways, aside from that, like I said, just one of my main questions is, what happened to Magane-chan exactly, etc. Along with, yeah, I think my question is just, what happened to Magane-chan exactly? So, aside from major complications, etc., it was a pretty cool series, although the plot is relatively simple, Altair is known to be the major antagonist in this entire series or arc, but is actually a protagonist in this arc too, in a certain way. Those of you guys who even watched the series to the very end will know what I'm talking about. She just wants revenge on the world that killed her creator because she was dissed on, etc., cyberbullying, and she just died and made her final creation, etc. You guys know what I'm talking about. But aside from that, the music, the action, along with the info dumping given in this episode was actually pretty cool. Although it questions me a couple things like how Meteor knows Altair wants to destroy the entire world. Although like they might have found out through a personality, etc. That was pretty slick. Who knows? But also, throughout my time, I did have problems with Sota, because like I'm pretty sure all you guys who freaking watch my recap of Recreators will understand that my issues with Sota was pretty crazy. Not to mention Alasteria's hot-head knight chivalry kind of thing. Although she ain't a male, but she's hot-headed. That's all I can really give out. Aside from that, freaking Magical Girl didn't have much of a role to play, but for Alasteria to like be somewhat of a crazed up killer in a sense. But yeah, as for Magane-chan, she's pretty cool. I really did like her. The only thing is I just wonder what happened to her at the end of the series, because she was never mentioned. She was never mentioned to go back to the home world, her own story. After all, she killed her creator, obviously. I'm pretty sure y'all understood what happened to that, etc. But like the guy who made the music, etc., literally became like good in a certain sense, like Hiroyuki Sawano or something. He is literally just becoming like he or she is like very, very good, honestly. It's like he took like almost he possibly might take music of anime 2017 from me, because that's how crazy his music is for me. Anyways, like I said, Recreators was fun, but still had a couple issues here and there that I said what happened to Magane-chan, Sota's character, being hesitant, although I can't really understand about being in his shoes, Alasteria's hothead, etc., and possibly much more of going on here. Though, it is what it is, etc. In this final episode, all the creations go back to their own world while the creators continue their work to continue the story and give them an ending that's really like pleasing in a certain sense. But yeah, it was still fun. I'm pretty sure all you guys might be waiting for a long time. What is exactly my score out of this series? I'd say 7 out of 10. I was thinking 6 at first, but I think I'll just stick with 7 for the time being. It was fun, although like I said, it had some issues here and there with me, in my personal issues, and maybe one of them is like what happened to Magane-chan, Sota's character being hesitant, and Alasteria being a stupid hothead most of the time that won't listen to reason, and somehow found out that she found out that Monica got killed by Altair. Yeah, like I said, there was a lot of issues, but I think it was still fun to the end of my eyes. So I gave it 7 out of 10 for the time being. So until then, I hope those of you guys who watched the series up to the end, and those of you guys who's been watching my recaps, etc., I hope all you guys had a fun time as much as I did. I'm sure I did, because the music was always freaking slick, especially like the second opening of Recreators. I won't deny this. I've been listening to that freaking opening every freaking single day when I decide to like listen to the full song and get used to it. Oh my lord. I can never, ever get that song out of my head. Oh my gosh. So until then, I'll see you guys in my next video. So alright, I'm Alpha Zero, people. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye bye. Doo doo doo!